Right now, the average touch point conversion requires 22 points of contact. So in 2026, it takes 22 follow-ups for somebody to convert into a client. When you're trying to force yourself to learn 10 different platforms to get a singular outcome, it can be very overwhelming.
Find an agent that's successful and copy what they do, right?
Right.
To me, that is almost a failure sentence because they're trying to copy what somebody is doing, but they don't know what the base is.
We know all real estate agents want to acquire clients consistently so that they can grow their business and income for that great lifestyle. This broadcast brings you the best and top people in the industry to support that quest. This is Dave Fanale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and Align, your premier real estate solution.
Good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. We're at 1 o'clock today, not 11 a.m. Eastern. We're at 1 p.m. Eastern. So here we are. And we're going to talk to someone who is an expert in marketing. My guest today, Toni Thom, represents the side of the business most people never fully appreciate, right? It's the part that makes everything actually work. A lot of people in real estate know the name walled garden because of the marketing, the ads, the visibility, but behind every company that gets real traction, there's usually someone asking the harder question, like, does this stuff actually help the person using it, the real estate agent? Toni Thom spent many years inside real estate operations, product thinking, business development, watching agents struggle with complexity, wasting money, wasting time, often quitting too early before anything ever works. Because in a business full of noise, the people who quietly build what works usually matter most. Toni, welcome to the broadcast. So happy you're here. And let's just hit off. And, thanks so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. Now, every time we start this broadcast, for the most part, unless I forget, I ask the same question. I've been asking it probably for about 400 episodes or so. It is, what does TGIF stand for?
Thank God it's Friday.
That's a really good answer because that's really the answer we get mostly.
Okay.
However, it is not the correct answer in our context. It's simple.
Okay.
Thank God it's Fanale.
Oh, okay.
Pretty plain and simple. Anyway, okay, so the fun part is over. Let's get down and let's get real serious. Toni, bring us through your process and your progress in your career, where you started, where you're at here, and why you're doing what you're doing, and how you got to that why.
Sure. Yeah, so Travis and I both have art backgrounds. We were always interested in creating and being creative and expressing ourselves through that creativity. And in our very early 20s, when we met, Travis owned a brokerage. I was working for my family's brokerage. So we're two families with real estate background, fathers, grandfathers. And when we met, it was like a perfect blend of process and automation, plus the marketing and the creativity. And so we owned our brokerage for 15 years. We managed dozens and dozens of real estate agents. And one of the things that we focused most on as a team and as a couple, of course, was the marketing side. How do we give our agents the best in class marketing tools? How do we give them the ability to service their clients, but also have marketing that was cutting edge for them? And so we started creating softwares and tools internally for our own brokerage, for our real estate agents to use. And over time, we realized this is really our passion. We want to listen to real estate agents outside of just our office. We want to listen to what the national heartbeat of real estate is saying about what they need, what's missing. Because of course, as brokerage owners, we were trying all the bells and whistles. We were trying all of the software tools. And we would hear from our agents. I mean, every brokerage owner can relate to, I can provide it, but will they use it? That's
all the time.
Universal experience, right?
All the time.
Yes, all the time. And so we kept adjusting. We were just adjusting to what our agents wanted, what they were saying, the feedback we were getting. So when we took our first version of what walled garden is on a national scale, that listening continued. And as we talked to agents across the country, to brokerages, title, mortgage, we just kept taking that feedback and making adjustments. And so now Walled Garden is sort of a blend of all of that feedback from all sides of the real estate industry. And what that blend created was a very easy way for real estate agents to keep their marketing out in front of their sphere of influence, their market, without having to put in a whole lot of effort to learn yet another platform or combine 10 platforms in order to have the same result. And so that's how Walled Garden came to fruition. It was through years of listening to our own real estate agents and then starting to listen on a national level of what was really needed.
Okay, so a lot of agents, like they start getting into this game and they start doing something that they're told to do in the beginning is and find an agent that's successful and copy what they do, right?
Right.
To me, that is almost a failure sentence because they're trying to copy what somebody is doing, but they don't know what the base is. They only see what they're doing on the outside and not the inside work. So when they try something, it usually sucks and it fails, right?
Right.
So the problem isn't really that they're doing the wrong thing. It's just they don't have anything behind it. When we're talking about getting agents started in this business, is there a typical beginning to what you guys do and try to get them started with what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, like we've told, every new agent wants to know how to build their pipeline, and I think it does a disservice as a marketing expert or even as at the brokerage level to say just what you said, like, well, why don't you go copy what that market, the top agent in our market, copy what they're doing. And what we like to say is like, that's front stage, backstage, right? Like the front stage is that they're very successful. The backstage is all of the tools and resources that they have in place, all the years of experience. And so one of the things that we like to tell agents starting right off the bat is don't go copy them, but make sure that you're learning from them. Like, make sure that you're saying, like, you're getting your brand out there, you're educating first, you're leading with education. You might be a new real estate agent, you might be straight out of classes, but you're still listening and you're learning. And so show up where those people are, market yourself as the new expert and find your niche. What do you love? Before you were a real estate agent, who were you? Did you, and were you a coffee connoisseur? You can start with something as simple as talking about the coffee shops in your market.
Exactly.
Did you love to frequent your farmer's market? We'll talk about that neighborhood. We all have, all of us, we all have that lived experience outside of our profession, and we can bring that lived experience into our messaging. And that's part of marketing, right? You can say, this is what I loved about my neighborhood, and now I live and breathe in this neighborhood. That's why you should choose me. So you have to, for a new agent, it's important that you bring in all of your lived experience into your messaging and into your advertising, into your marketing, into the way that you want your market area to perceive you.
So, all right. So everybody's going to say, okay, well, what platform do I use? Am I on social media all the time? Am I doing ads? And what should those ads be? And we just talked about, doing the local stuff with, coffee shops, et cetera. And that is a great way to put it. But is there a better place to be? Is there an overall range of different things to do? Because people say, well, I saw this guy, he wants me to do YouTube. And this person says, I need 25 million followers and all this other crap, right? I think a lot of that my own opinion is really pretty simple, that everybody decides that they're going to do it one way. And if they don't get somewhere, they're going to go to another place, and they don't get somewhere quickly, they're going to go to another thing. So it's like there's like this this attention span which isn't too long. So talk to me about platform first.
Yeah. So I mean, I think back to our first, the beginning of this where I said, what will you use? It's sort of like the CRM, right? The best platform for you is the one that you're comfortable with, the one that you want to use the most.
That's right.
We obviously recommend Facebook and Instagram. Those two platforms continue to grow in the United States. They're one of the fastest growing platforms in the United States. And it allows you to zero in on your market area. You can target people that are within a specific radius. You can target a specific neighborhood. You can target, you can upload your custom audiences of your friends, your family. When you're a new agent starting out, you might not have a large sphere of influence of past clients, but you still have friends and family and former colleagues and so on and so forth. And so Facebook and Instagram give you that ability to reach those people more efficiently.
Well, you hear a lot of agents say, well, only old people are on Facebook, or nobody's on Facebook anymore. And whenever I hear that, I smile and I look at them and says, tell me something. Who's selling homes?
Right.
Okay. I mean, look, I'm a boomer, proud of it. And you know what? Past 2 years, I've sold 2 homes. Not because I'm old, but because I just did. But still, as people move along in life, they're going to want to sell, and they're going to want to simplify, or they're going to want a situation where, they're in a community, a townhouse community, a condo community. But even though they're old, they're on social media because it's something that is acceptable to them. Watching agents, you see, and talk to any agents, Toni, you see a lot of things that they're doing. You see everything they're doing. And I'm sure one of the things that you do when someone starts working with you is you like to know what they've done, what worked, what didn't work. And you watch agents as they talk to you about how they wasted money and some of the stuff they've done that they don't want to admit. What would be some of those things that would be a place not to go if you're starting out trying to get into this marketing point before you would come to you?
Well, I think there's, we are saturated with options, and that's one of the problems is, people are saying, well, you need Canva to design your ad. You need ChatGPT to write your ad copy. You need OpenAI to create something specific. And I think where the fail comes in, or where the strain comes in for agents who are trying to create all of that, is they really do get bogged down in how many systems can go wrong. Like, if you're not a prompt engineer, is ChatGPT working for you? If you're not a graphic designer, are you doing well in Canva? And then you have to log into the Facebook Business Manager, and you look at that, and that is a whole beast. That the ad manager, the ad manager has been designed by engineers. They're not designers. They're not UX UI friendly. They're really there for the utility of it, and it can be very, very overwhelming. And so I think where a lot of missteps happen is when you're trying to force yourself to learn 10 different platforms to get a singular outcome. It can be very overwhelming. And of course, then there's all of the compliance issues with Facebook. And if you don't have those compliance safeguards built into your advertising, your messaging, your ad copy, your headlines, you can just be spending a whole bunch of money on trial and error. So you can run an ad on Facebook, but you may have mentioned that your listing has a wine cellar, and boom, your ad platform is shut down because that violates Facebook's terms of service. Or you can tinker around with Canva, but you left some like whole placeholder text in your image, and suddenly you need to start over. And there's no really safeguard for, like, what's my preview look like? Oh, there it is. And you have to dig around in Facebook and you find it. So I think the failure comes in that the way that marketing is set up for agents who are just starting out, or even seasoned agents, is there's so many places to go that you're sort of piecemealing things together instead of having a streamlined process.
What's interesting, a phrase you used earlier is something we probably never heard of 4 or 5 years ago, and that phrase is prompt engineer.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. And you talked about AI, open AI, and everything else. Is AI a ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, all those things?
Yep.
Are they an asset, an advantage to everyone, or can they be a deterrent?
I mean, of course they are, right? I mean, that's the world we live in. They've been built to be an asset to us, but that's with the assumption that we know, again, that prompt engineering, that we know how to make them an asset. It's very easy to log into ChatGPT and say, here's a little bit of info about my listing. Write me a listing summary, write me a listing description, right? I mean,
Right.
that's the benefit. But when it comes down to writing compliant headlines, when it comes to writing compliant advertising, that's where, again, you have to have that prompt engineer, and it varies state by state, right? So if California, very, very restrictive, unless you are prompting, I live in this county in California, these are my compliance restrictions, or hey, look up these clients. So it creates an added responsibility to the agent to understand what all of that is, how it can affect them, how it can get them into trouble. And so with Chat and Claude and Gemini and Midjourney and OpenAI, yeah, they can be a benefit, but you have to learn how to use all of them to your benefit. You have to understand how, as a real estate agent, you save time by doing it, but also keeping yourself in compliant and out of trouble. And you're still, again, you have to achieve your, the optimal outcome. And that may not necessarily be the case when there's too many programs to learn.
I mean, too many things going on. I mean, it's supposed to make things easier. I will tell you that in my career, I had a brokerage where, my goal was to be in the forefront of technology all the way through. And when we start talking about technology, for me, that was when the internet started being a thing, email started being a thing. And then, I was there when Google first did pay-per-click, and I was getting terms, at 5 cents a click,
Right.
Or 2 cents a click. And that's what you were bidding and everything else. And it worked really well. As time went on, I had a time frame where I didn't really stay on top of things. And that was the worst thing that I could have done. And by the way, agents 20 years ago did not want anything to do with this. They didn't think it was cool. They thought it was a pain in the ass and it was never going to work. I would always say, yep, the internet's a fad. Don't worry, it'll be gone soon. And I thought it was funny then. I think it's funny now. AI is not going anywhere. And I give you this background for me because I've learned a lot of different things, and there's just so much out there. I have actually AI overload.
Yeah.
I work with a couple of organizations for me to help me grow my business. And if they're talking about these intricate Claude prompts for expireds and for sale by owners, and I have honestly just turned it all off in my head, because I'm not going to get a thing done. I'm going to lose money, and I just cannot do it. When it comes to the marketing and it comes to walled garden, where are you guys starting, and how are you guys implementing, and how are you guiding your agents through that process of not getting overwhelmed?
Well, walled garden, the benefit of walled garden is that we have all of that sort of built in. So when you're a walled garden user and you want to type out your headline, but you don't want to go over to Chat, you don't want to go over to Claude, you don't want to have to go back and forth with both of them, like this and that. With walled garden, you enter in your basic headline, your basic ad copy, and we write 5 variations for you. And then we're mix and matching those headlines in the background to find the most optimal combination. And then we're pushing all of your ad spend to that winning combination. So we're not having you waste time chasing down the variation that you think is going to work best, or the wording that you think is going to work best. We do all of that for you in the background, and you're not having to bounce around and copy and paste and come back and go forth. And again, it's that overload. It's that option overload. Like adults and children alike, you give them 10 options. It can be very overwhelming. And so we remove that overwhelm, and we remove that need to be bouncing back and forth, or to be an expert in one and maybe not the other. And we just built it all in. So you're not having to engineer anything. You just write, come see me this weekend at this open house, click on our variation tool, and then it'll write all the variations for you.
It's such a great system and process, because like I said, I'm going to keep going back in time. When Facebook ads first came out, I got really to be very, very good at it, I thought. And it would take me 2 hours to do the complete process for an ad. Right. Yeah. And I was good at it. Right. I was really good at it. And then as time went on, automations came into play, and it made it a lot quicker and a lot easier for me to do what I had to do. And then, that made it easier because I knew what to do before, and then I had to learn not to do it. and that was terrible for me. What did you see way back that you thought agents needed a different way, such as understanding if the agents were going to use it? Was it the simplicity of what you guys were setting up and doing it for them, or do you still get people that want to do it themselves and fight you on that?
Yeah, so there were a couple of factors, right? The first being cost. A lot of agents, like I said, when you're servicing sellers and buyers and you're going back and forth to title companies and you're managing all of the paperwork, you don't have a lot of time. And so way back then, the option was you hire an assistant, you hire a marketing agency, and both of those things can be very, very expensive. So that was a financial drain on a lot of agents. There was also that sort of, I'm hiring this assistant and I don't know if this listing is going to close. So we wanted to remove that financial drain. The third was, again, the amount of time. So you had to work on your copywriting, which you have to do for your listing anyway, but then it went above and beyond for the marketing. Then you had to learn the Facebook ad manager. So, when we transitioned from brokerage to agency, learning that Facebook ad manager, my goodness, we would coach people and it would hours upon hours upon hours of learning the Facebook ad manager, only for the ad manager to change the following week. I mean, we've all been right. Like we got down the flow, we finally understood the Facebook ad manager, and then suddenly the ad manager would change. And then we had housing categories. So then you had to learn how to be in compliance with RESPA. So the learning curve never flattened. It was Facebook was an ever-changing target. Compliance was an ever-changing target. And so agents were having to stay on top of the advertising compliance rules, not just for their city, but their state, and then national and MLS compliance and listing compliance. There was just too much to keep track of. And so when we're, as brokerage owners and as mentors, we were looking at it as this is not sustainable. How are agents, because now agents are also supposed to be social media influencers, right? They're supposed to be on camera. They're supposed to be making videos. They're supposed to be very engaging. They need the views. The responsibility that is put on the agent's shoulders is a lot. And we recognize that. And so we took all of the complexities and simplified it down to like a 60-second process. If your listing photo is ready to go in your downloads folder, it can take you 60 seconds to launch an ad with us. You don't have to learn the Facebook advertising platform. You don't have to copy everything over. You don't have to be an AI copywriting expert. You can just flip a switch on walled garden and we'll create combinations for you or variations for you. So, or if you don't even have that much time, you can drop a URL into our program. You can say, oh, I don't even have a website. That's okay. Grab your MLS listing, grab the realtor.com listing, the Zillow listing, drop it into our program. We'll create all of the imagery for you. We'll gather your images. We'll gather all of the listing details. So we took what a marketing assistant would do for thousands of dollars every month on a salary, and we simplified it into a few clicks for the cost of running your ad and a small monthly fee. So it's all about reclaiming the finance burden of having to hire an assistant in an agency and reclaiming your time burden, because there's already so much responsibility to be a real estate agent in 2026. And we don't want to be one more thing that you feel is a burden to your time. So we've tried to make both of those things as small as possible, financial and time.
Is there still an issue with, we've gone through the technical part of it, right? And one of the things that I've always seen is that marketing to a lot of agents can be more emotional than it is technical or mathematical or whatever way you want to look at it. Is there a subject you just can't broach? Is there a subject you just can't get through with some agents? And where are they being their emotional? If there's any examples, that would be great, because agents that will watch this, I want them to understand that they are being too emotional and looking too far into it. Is that a possibility? Is that even a thing though?
Well, sure. I think one of the hardest challenges from a marketing perspective is understanding that this seasonal, this is the slow season, this is the fast season. But what happens is you're appealing to your audience at all times in order to remain top of mind. So that emotional, I don't have time, I'm too busy because this is the fast season. It's like, yes, we understand. We understand that this is the busy season, but you need to be prepared for the slow season. You need to be prepared to it's called prime and remind. Prime and remind your audience during the slow season so that they're ready for the following busy season. So I think, again, it comes back to that time. Like it's spring and summer, we know, is notoriously busy for real estate agents. And then they sort of they prepare for fall and winter, holiday season, where it gets a little bit slower. And there's that strain of like, well, it's too slow. I can't spend the money on marketing right now because it's too slow. Marketing has to be part of your yearly business plan. It is a must. You don't have to necessarily be a social media influencer. We know that can also be very overwhelming. You don't have to be posting on your Facebook every other day. That can be really overwhelming, but you do need to stay in front of your audience in some meaningful way in order to keep that relationship going. And I think removing the emotion out of the responsibility of keeping that relationship going and just saying it's a line item. It's a line item in your business plan to keep that relationship and to keep your brand in the forefront is really important. And it is, I understand completely. It's a frustrating point for a lot of agents. And it is sometimes viewed as like, oh, that's one more thing I have to do. But it's the most important thing you have to do. If you're delivering pies around Thanksgiving, you should also be in their phone on their news feed saying Happy Thanksgiving. It's just as important.
I think we learned a lot about communication during COVID because we weren't really allowed to do a lot, right? And one of the things that most, influencers or coaches or what we're telling you to do is call up and see how people are, start conversations with people and do that. And I think that's where, when we talk about, this has been true forever, in the bad times and the slow times, probably a time when you really need to make sure you are more just as consistent, right? I was a landlord for many, many years. And one of the things that I always saw our business and our retail clients, tenants do is they'd only advertise during the good times when the money was flowing like crazy. And like when it got slow, let's say January, February, they would not market. They would not advertise. They wouldn't do anything. Well, we don't have the money now and people aren't buying anyway. I think that's one of the most important times to market and to get their message out. Is the message different in those times? And would you agree with what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think, education forward is always the best way to keep that relationship going when you don't have a listing, for example. If it's a slow time and you don't have a listing that you're promoting to get feet in the door, providing education, how to prepare for your spring sale. Here's a checklist to get your home ready to market. And then drive people over to a landing page where they have to provide your information, or use a lead ad form on Walled Garden to gather that information before they get over to the information. Providing education to prepare them to be your client is a great way to stay in front of them during the slow times. That sellers love checklists. Buyers love checklists because it makes them feel prepared without feeling the obligation of having a conversation right off the bat. And so it's all about the messaging. It's all about how you can provide value. There has to be that reciprocity, right? You can't always ask. It can't be a constant ask. You can't say, call me for your buying needs, call me for your selling needs, let me come see your property. You have to give. And marketing is that reciprocal exchange. You can say, here's some education for you, and when you're ready, I'm the person to call. And that's a great way to keep that conversation going over the slower times.
Over the years, we've heard this phrase: show value, give value, bring value. And a lot of agents believe that means that they need to say I and we, and bringing value through ads and through posts and through social media is not about how great you are. It's about what you can do for someone. Yeah. What would you say would be a perfect post or a good post, instead of bringing value without saying I do this and I do that, or I am number one, or I am this, or I am the greatest, a Muhammad Ali statement. But what would be the type of post or the type of video that you would do for that without saying I?
Well, if you didn't have those guides that I mentioned, like here's all the best ways to prepare your home. There are other ways like home valuations, like here's find out what the value of your home is right now. We all know the market has been shifting like crazy since COVID.
Right.
There's been a lot of misconceptions about interest rates. Those like 24 months where interest rates were really low completely changed the market's perception on buying and selling right now. And so there's a lot that you can provide without ever saying I. You can simply provide information that would be valuable to your market area. So even if you're like, okay, I don't have a guide about checklists right now, and I don't want to make one, that's fine. Go do market, like I said in the beginning, like go do a coffee shop tutorial, talk about a neighborhood, go for a walk. One of the most interesting, I was recently visiting my brother in South Carolina, and he was watching YouTubes and about a neighborhood in South Carolina. And I sat there and I watched this real estate agent. All they did was walk around the neighborhood and talk about what they were seeing and what they loved about this neighborhood. They would like turn a corner and there was a park, and they were like, oh my gosh, look at this. I mean, it was kind of like you were along for the ride for a walk in this brand new park. So if you have no like tangible piece of education to provide, you can just simply go for a walk and learn more about your market area and share your experience, share your lived experience walking through that neighborhood or that restaurant or that farmer's market. And that alone gives people in your area or people who might be searching in your area valuable information.
So, all right. So we've talked about posts. We've talked about things we don't want to do. We talked about things we should be doing. Let's talk about markets, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are so many different things going on in this country right now as far as real estate markets. I mean, if you look at Florida, they got more inventory than they know what to do with. If you look at my area, northern New Jersey, we ain't got nothing, right? There's nothing here to market. So I would imagine that the message is a lot different in both markets. I believe those are two extreme markets, but they're different all over the country, right? The difference between North Jersey and most of areas of the country where people want to go to is we don't have any new construction here, right? So the marketing's a little different. Talk to me about differentiating markets and how you would attack each.
Well, I mean, of course you need to speak to your market. If you are flooded with, let's use Florida. If you are flooded with listing inventory and marketing a listing is currently, I don't want to say a fruitless effort, but a much longer effort. If you're looking at 180 days to closing versus 30 days to closing, then you need to be changing your messaging. You need to be talking more about why somebody would want to live in that neighborhood, why interest rates right now are great in this price range. Or you can say, look at all of these houses under this price range. There's so much to choose from. So when you're in a market that's flooded with listings, of course you need to be selling that market area more than the house, because that means there aren't enough people coming to your market area.
Right.
And the benefit of, there's also, like with walled garden, you can target people outside of your market area. In Florida, they might be wanting to talk to people in northern Michigan about, hey, now's a really great time to come look at this plethora of second home inventory. So you've got to think outside of your market too. Same with when there's not enough listings. So if you're in northern New Jersey and there's not enough on the market, you need to be reaching out to sellers and talking about why now is a good time to buy, the values that have gone up, the equity that you might have in your home. Other neighborhoods that are seeing similar stability and the market gains that those homes have, the equity that they've gained in the last several years, what you could do with that equity, how you can turn that equity into, multiple properties in this other neighborhood. You have to get really creative with, if you're talking to a seller who says, I'm not willing to sell, convince me. What would you say? And that needs to be your marketing messaging. And that, again, that can go for a singular neighborhood, or it can go to any market that who might be interested in moving to Northern New Jersey. Like, hey, if you're a buyer, here are the homes that are for sale in Northern New Jersey. There's not a lot of them, but let me help you find one that's specific to your needs. And then similar conversation with sellers. I mean, so yes, of course, marketing has to be adjusted to your market area, what's going on in that market area, but you have to think outside of, your zip code. What does it look like if you're speaking to somebody who's not in that zip code, and your messaging can start there?
That's great advice. I love that. There's when we talk about markets, we talk about, opportunity. And one of the things that I've always heard in my career was, there's enough business for everyone. One would argue that in my area, but there's still things that you can do. I mean, there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of, walled garden's a great system, a great process, but there's a lot of systems out there that aren't good. And everybody wants to be in your pocket. Everybody wants you. Yeah. Let's have a discovery call, and then you give me this amount of money and I'll do this for you. And there's just so many promises out there. How do we eliminate the noise in this marketing? Because I'm sure, look, you guys are fantastic. Your product is great. Your process is fantastic. And it's like, okay, so there's us, and then we see all this other stuff. How do you get through the noise, you guys as a marketing company in real estate, and how does the agent get through the noise and understand true opportunity?
Well, there are a ton of products out there, and I guess speaking from the co-founders of Walled Garden, the argument may be, how many of those products have been in your shoes? The founders of those products, how many of those founders have sat behind the real estate agent desk? Or how many of those founders have sat in front of the seller, have sat in front of a buyer, or have had to teach a class in person to a group of real estate agents who are depending on them to make their business successful? But we have. And so we've built our entire platform around giving agents the opportunity to market themselves in a really simple way that isn't financially burdensome, that isn't a huge burden on their time, and allows them to go out and do what they do best. And so cutting through the noise is just, there's, I don't know how many dozens of different CRMs. Which one are you going to use? That's the one. So Walled Garden gives you back your time. It's a low financial burden. And if you use it and you leverage it, it's going to work for you. I mean, we have real estate agents locally as nationally in all market areas who have spent $100 on Walled Garden and had over $20,000 in commissions as a result. The results speak for themselves. We've built in all of our years of expertise in the real estate industry, all of our years of Facebook and Instagram expertise into the platform, all the guardrails, all the best practices. And all you have to do is upload a headline and your property image and upload a URL. And so we've, cutting through the noise includes helping agents understand that they can ignore everything and focus on one platform. And that one platform can connect to your favorite CRM. You don't have one? That's okay. We can connect to your email address, your phone number. It is the most simple way to get your name out there in a consistent level, and in a consistent way. And you can set it and forget it. With Walled Garden, you can set something for 30 days and put in your calendar, go set something up new, in Walled Garden for another 30 days. And you only have to do those 30 days. And we're feeding your information out, your messaging out. We're making sure that during those 30 days, your advertising is optimized.
Okay. So marketing is optimized. Everything is going well. But if the form of business and the method of follow-up and the method of connection is not there, a lot of agents will say, well, the marketing doesn't work. Okay.
Yes.
So you guys have gotten the agent attention. You've generated leads for them. Yeah. What do they need, and what should they know, and what should be their base in order to take what you guys have already done for them and to make it work?
Every qualifying broker has probably said speed to lead, right? Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I can give you the name and phone number of my best friend who says they're ready to sell. But if you don't pick up the phone and call my best friend, you're not going to sell their house. Right. Real estate agents do have to have a system that connects with those leads really quickly. And this is where CRM comes in. You definitely need a system. We can be the best lead generation platform in the world. We can have the highest converting leads in the world. But if you're not making contact, if you're not following up via email and phone number and giving them a call and trying to have that one-on-one, it has to go beyond, unfortunately, in this era, it just is the truth. It goes beyond an automated reply, right? We all get automated replies in our emails all day long. You do have to have a system set up where that lead feels important. That lead has to feel like their business matters the most to you in that moment. So we always recommend not just an automated reply to an ad or to a new lead that comes in, but a whole nurture campaign. So we're talking 8, 12, 16 touch points. Right now, the average touch point conversion requires 22 points of contact. So in 2026, it takes 22 follow-ups for somebody to convert into a client. And that's not true for every lead, but that is the average follow-up length that it takes. So you have to have those systems. Most brokerages offer those systems or provide those systems. But if you're on your own, find a basic CRM, follow-up boss. What was the other? Close.io. Any CRM that you're willing to use and that you will set aside some time to build in that nurture campaign, and you will make sure those leads feel important, that's going to make any lead generation and any marketing effort a success.
22 follow-ups, huh?
True. Yeah. No, it's extreme right now. And it's because there's a lot of fear, right? Like people don't understand the fluctuation of, it's so interesting because everyone's talking about the interest rates right now and how high they are. And I'm like, but these are the exact same interest rates as 20 years ago. That those 24 months where it was historically low was not the norm. And you have to overcome messaging.
No, when I hear what you just said 20 years ago, okay, I want you to look at 40 years ago, right?
Yeah, you're right.
I want you to look at all of that. Even 30 years ago, when I did a mortgage for a house I built and I got 7.5%, I was so happy.
Yes.
I was so, and this is the early 90s. I was so happy. Look, everybody's got to understand that our business is in a cycle, and the cycle we're in now is kind of really wonky because because of outside forces like this thing going on in the Middle East. Don't even want to talk about it. And everything else. People looking at interest rates. Well, how about oil prices? How about this? How about that? Hey, guess what? Same thing happened in the 70s. Same thing happened in the 80s. There was so many other things going on, but I want you to understand, everybody to understand that what we've got is we've got systems and processes that will work. This process that we've been talking about today, what Walled Garden does, what Toni and Travis do, is just a fantastic process that if you follow it, it will be successful. So one of the things I really need to ask, and we talked about all these systems. I mentioned all the noise that's out there and everybody wanting to be in your pockets. Now I'm going to ask you the opposite question. Toni, simplify my life. Tell me what I need to have and how I stop the noise from penetrating my head, or is that even possible?
We're always bombarded with options.
Yes.
That's part of what, right? There was once a statistics that say we see thousands of ads every day, and whether we realize it or not. But if I were to say, here's what you need in your toolkit. You need Walled Garden for your advertising because you can set it and forget it. You can couple it with other initiatives, like if you're working with a title rep to send out postcards, you can be in their mailbox and in their phone. You can target the same people and you can be omnipresent. And you need a CRM. You need one CRM. It doesn't have to be the perfect solution to everything you've dreamed of, but it has to be the one that you're going to use, the one that's going to make you the most efficient. And that's it. That's what you need to get your marketing out into the world and to make it really, really effective. You need a simple online digital marketing solution, and you need good partnerships with title or mortgage, and you need a CRM. And those three things can cut out so much of the noise. If you have a digital marketing plan, or maybe you don't, maybe you're like, oh, I got this listing, I'm going to list it, or, oh, I'm going to do this open house. You can be impromptu with your advertising and still be successful. You don't have to have every minute of your life planned out.
How important is
You don't have to have every day planned out. That's the benefit of Walled Garden, is we are there for. No, go ahead.
Now, how important is budget?
Well, I mean, everybody's budget is their own personal initiative, right? So, but our monthly marketing platform is $79. That allows you to run unlimited ads, connect your CRM, unlimited business pages, all of the tools and resources and guardrails that keep you compliant built in. It's the simplicity. And then you just pay per ad. So you can put $100 towards an ad. And like I said, we have many, many, many stories of those $100 receiving tens of thousands in commissions. But if you put $250 towards your monthly marketing budget, that's 2 meals out on a Friday. And I'm not saying give up your Fridays. We all need our Fridays. I'm just trying to put it into context of $250 can set up your pipeline for months and months and months to come. So while not every agent has the budget to throw $1,500 at their marketing budget, right? That's advertising agency level dollars. And we understand that. But if you have 2 meals out worth of budget to set up your pipeline for months and months and months, to be growing your sphere of influence, to be growing that your brand awareness in your market area, the return on that amount of money is going to be infinite.
Yeah, it's amazing. Is there anything we missed today, Toni?
I don't think so. But if I have missed something, they can always email me down at that Toni@walledgardenhq.com, send me their questions, or they can visit us at walledgardenhq.com to learn more about what we do.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much for being on today.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And I got 2 more things, and then we'll be moving on. First thing is a question is, how do I help you grow your business?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm here. You've graciously hosted me today. But just talking to agents, when agents ever have the question about how do I simplify my life, you can just tell them that we've done all of it. We've sat in their shoes, we've sat in their chairs across the tables from every client type. We've advertised every type of listing. We've done it all, and we've built this system because we understand deeply how it all works and the benefit of having the right type of tool.
That's fantastic. I want to thank everybody for coming today. This has been episode 413. Next week we've got another one of the greats. We've had greats on today, greats on last week. We have Coach Pipes coming on next week. Bill Pipes, CEO of G3 Nation, high performance coach. I'm pleased to call him friend. And he's going to be with us next week. So, buckle up for next week. That'll be fun. And last but not least, Toni, the hat.
I can't wait to wear it.
The hat's coming out to you, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on. This is April 17th, 2026. And just make sure you guys watch this. Any questions, walledgardenhq.com. That's the place to go. You'll get everything you need there. Toni, thanks so much. Stay on as we go off.